few tips to share with you on how to keep your dog cool during the summer. So hopefully this is helpful. The first tip being keeping your dog's fur short. And I have as you guys know, I have a little Maltipoo, and so her hair is constantly growing, as with many other poodle types. So keeping her hair short will help keep her cooler in the summer. It is like wearing a fur coat if you were to go outside on a hot sunny day, and it's just really uncomfortable for them to constantly be hot, and so they're not really wanting to move a lot. At least, like in our case, Peach-on here, she gets tired easily and she just doesn't like moving when the weather is hot. And I can't blame her. If I was wearing a heavy fur coat, I wouldn't want to move that much either, especially on a hot summer day. So there you have it. That's tip number 1. Tip number 2, always carry a water bottle with you. Dogs, because they're wearing these heavy coats, they tend to get dehydrated easily in the hot weather, so it's always good to carry water. I'm also pretty certain that you can hold your thirst longer than they can, and you can tell when they're, their tongue is hanging out, they're breathing really heavy, or they're insisting on like stopping and taking breaks or lying down. So I always carry this with me. It's a little water bottle with a handle, and so that way, I will say sometimes I do forget, but I always try to carry it on me. I only have one, but it might be helpful to have one or two, like maybe in your car, so that way if you do forget, you'll have another one somewhere readily or near available. If you don't have this or something like this, the next best thing, or even a better thing, depending on who you ask, would be to get those collapsible bowls. They're like made out of like some silicone or something where you could just fold them, and they're really easy to carry. And some people use that, and then they'll just carry their own water bottle and pour water for their dog, any time whenever the dog is thirsty, and then they could just easily dump it out to water, like a nearby plant or something. So tip number 2, always carry water with you, and check in on your dog if they're thirsty or not. Because I do see a lot of dogs when I'm walking around on a hot day. They're thirsty, or they have huge coats. They're panting a lot. Their tongue is hanging out, and the owner's just kind of, looking here or there, or just distracted. All right, tip number 3. Now this one is maybe controversial, but I think it's very important, especially and it's controversial because California, maybe we don't have that much weather change, but I will say that third tip is to get shoes for your dogs. Yes, it seems a little excessive, and there's a lot of debate whether or not they really need shoes, but I was walking my dog the other weekend, and there were not just me, there were a ton of people walking dogs, and the concrete was very, very hot. It was extremely sunny. I could not stop sweating, and my dog kept actually wanting to walk toward the shade and the pavement, and someone had come to me and said, hey, your dog is their feet is burning, and that's why she keeps walking toward the wanting to go to the shade. This really surprised me because dogs, as far as I know, dogs actually don't feel heat, and so but they will feel the after effects of that. So I think if their paws were burning, they might not necessarily feel it, but they will feel sort of like I said, the symptoms of that if there's pain or anything. But I did take this into consideration because it is something that a lot of people are not mindful of. The concrete being hot, the saying goes, if it's hot for you to touch it with your palm of your hand, then it's definitely hot for them. So I saw a lot of dogs walking without shoes, obviously, because that's not very popular. But some of them seemed okay, and some of them were kind of moving around, especially the smaller dogs were moving a lot. But I do think that it is important to, especially if you go out a lot. I don't typically go out a lot with my dog in the sun. We do things that are in cooler areas, or we stay pretty local to the dog park and things like that. But if you do happen to walk your dog on hot concrete, if you take them with you somewhere, it would be helpful to potentially get them shoes. Now, I will do a separate video regarding like the options when it comes to shoes. So more on that later, but hopefully these 3 tips will be helpful to you for the summer. So that's it. Thanks, guys. Bye.